You're listening to Viking Radio, coming to you from Dream Street Studios at Del Mar College. Now your host, Dr. Natalie Chapa.
Good morning, Coastal Bend. You are listening to Retro Radio. It's me again, kicking you off this morning after Mr. Larry Elizondo. Dr. Natalie Chapa here with Mike B. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Dr. Chapa. How are you?
I'm good. So my first question is, do you have any warrants out for your arrest in Nueces County?
I checked. He's clear. He's all right.
Surprise! We have Sheriff J.C. Hooper here with us today.
In all honesty, I did get a warning recently, but that's another story.
And Natalie, that thing about you, that's in the past. Don't worry about that.
I thought that had been buried. I was told I was only being looked for in Jim Wells County, not Nueces.
You can't run.
Let's change the subject on that because we also have one of our professors, Mr. John Hornsby. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I'm going to kick us off with a random question for both of you gentlemen. You know where I'm going with this, Mike B. If you could have been anything in the whole wide world, could have been anything, what would you have been?
A Texas sheriff.
A Texas sheriff.
A Texas sheriff, exactly what I am today.
You are living the dream.
I am
You're
living
your
the
dream.
Absolutely.
Sheriff
Had the
Hooper.
vision back in third grade when I was captain of the school safety patrol, and here I am today.
So since the third grade safety patrol,
Right.
okay, Mr. Hornsby.
I'm going to agree with the sheriff. I'm right where I was supposed to be, right where I want to be.
So we heard from Sheriff Hooper, third grade safety patrol. Where did you get your calling from? Where did it come from?
I kind of fell into it. I enlisted in the Army right out of high school because I didn't really have a direction, really didn't know where I was going. And then when I completed my term of service with the Army, I was going to college looking for a job. And I found a job as a police officer in Louisiana and became a police officer there. Life happened, and I ended up in Corpus Christi, worked for Nueces County for a little under a year, then went to work for Corpus Christi PD and worked for them for 26 years. And so I kind of fell into the best job I think I could have ever fell into.
Hey, John, what'd you do at Nueces County?
I was a correction officer.
So that's great right there, and that's a beautiful segue in where you wanted to go, Natalie, because we have 190 correctional officers that work in that jail, and so many of us, and John can tell you this, with the Corpus Christi Police Department, with DPS, with agencies all over the state and all over the country, they started in the jail.
Absolutely. It's a great way to start a law enforcement career.
You've seen our billboards. Your path starts here. And my path started there in 1981 under Solomon P. Ortiz. I was a jailer.
Okay.
And so John and I have that in common.
And it is a servant calling. It is.
You are your brother's keeper in
That's
that
right.
jail.
You are your brother's keeper, and I think it's a testament, though, to the type of individuals that gravitate towards this type of work.
I would agree 100%.
And I'm grateful. I don't have the calling, as you know. The warrant is still out on me, but but I've always been very appreciative and honored to meet and know people where this comes from. And here at Del Mar College, and along with other areas here in South Texas, we've got excellent training opportunities. So for people out there who've been interested, who see those, you have awesome billboards, by the way. I'm
Thank
always
you.
impressed with the billboards that y'all have. Where does one begin?
So it's just a matter of coming in or going to the Nueces County website or download the Sheriff app. We have an app on a smartphone app.
Okay.
Nueces
Good to know.
County Sheriff app. And there's a button there on the homepage that says join our team. And it's such an easy process. And we can hire you at 18 years old. And we will put you to work and get you into the public service pipeline.
So you mentioned something really cool to Mike B. and I earlier, that's starting now with high school students. So we talk a lot about education here, and it's not linear anymore in that you go to middle school, you go to high school, you get out, you go to college, you do training, you go to work. Now you're getting trained a lot earlier in life. And so there's a really cool opportunity with TCOL. So tell the folks out there, first of all, what is TCOL?
Texas, and I'll let John tell everybody. He lives with TCOL.
Okay,
so
John,
tell him about
what
TCOL.
is TCOL, John?
So TCOL is the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. That's our regulatory agency for police officers, correction officers, law enforcement agencies.
For the state of Texas.
For the entire state
Yes.
of Texas. So they set forth training standards and regulatory standards. Really, the legislature creates the laws, and then they create the working rules to comply with those laws.
So TCOL just codified, or the legislature just codified a TCOL program, and it's called Pipeline to Public Service, where in high schools, starting in spring, as part of their CTE, Careers Technical Education Program, which every high school has now, a couple of the curriculums that are going to be offered are for correctional officers, state jailer license,
That's awesome.
and dispatcher license. And if they successfully complete the program in high school, then the minute they turn 18, they can go to a facility like Del Mar College Regional Academy and take that state licensing exam. And the minute they pass that license is good for life, and they can work anywhere in the state as a dispatcher or a correctional officer, and that's going to start in spring of it. And we're already coordinating with several school districts here in Nueces County to make that a reality, because it has to be a licensed TCOL instructor who delivers that curriculum.
Sure, we want
in the
people who
classroom.
are well trained.
Exactly.
This isn't something you can just. It's not a little side course. This is very
no,
serious
this is
work.
for real.
It's
Yeah.
important work. It's it benefits the safety, right, of our community. You and I always hear these great opportunities, and then after the show, we're like, we want to do that. Do you want to be in law enforcement yet?
I don't know if I have what it takes. And I'm glad you asked that, because I wanted to ask both of you gentlemen, what are the skill sets that you need to be a good candidate for to be a jailer and a peace officer? What do you got to have?
Common sense and compassion. I think those are the two biggies right there. I mean, if you're, and you have to be trainable, and John can speak to that. You have to be able to learn policy, practice, and procedure, and then apply it. And so it's not for everybody. We have a lot of applicants that come to us, and they take the written exam, and they go through the physical and psychological, and they check all the boxes to get hired. And then after a 12-hour shift in the jail, they find out that it's not for them. And I don't blame them, fault them. It's not for everybody being that type of servant in that type of environment. But it does take, it doesn't, back in the day, you had to be 6'2" and 250 pounds. You had to be kind of a knuckle dragger to do the job, whether it was
Like John Hornsby is.
Like I didn't. You said that, Michael. I didn't.
I was
say
going to
that.
say we have
So
Exhibit A.
So back in the day, you kind of had to be like that to survive, whether on the streets or in the jail, but not so much anymore. And that's why I think John will tell you we're hiring just as many, if not more, females now in corrections and in law enforcement.
What's the shift with that, Sheriff? What do you think's going on?
I think we found out with technology and with tools and with training that females can do this job. Especially it comes to, like I said, common sense, compassion, and the ability to de-escalate a situation rather than to escalate it and turn it into a physical or allow it to become a physical altercation. And, females are good at that.
And there's training. It's like you just get thrown into a situation, right? There's proper training that takes time that teaches you how to de-escalate.
Exactly.
Yeah. John, do you want to speak to that?
Tell them about some of the stuff y'all do in that regional academy.
So our correction academy is a month long. I think yours is a month as well. And as far as peace officer academy, it's 6 months long for the day academy. So that's 8 to 5, Monday through Friday for 23 weeks.
Okay.
We have a night academy that goes just in the night or at nighttime from 5:30 to 9:30 and every other Saturday, but that's 10 months long. So it's required by the state is 736 clock hours, physical hours in the seat
For the peace
for
officer.
the peace officer course. We do about 845 here at Del Mar College because we like to add a little bit of value to the education, obviously, here at Del Mar College. But to go back to the question on what it takes, really, I'd add to the sheriff is what the sheriff's comments were with just patience, because the people have to realize going into this career, you're dealing with people that are having probably the worst day or the worst time of their life. That nobody calls us up to say, hey, I'm having a great day. I'd like for you to come by and I'd like to shake your hand. They call 911 because they're having
There's
the
a problem.
worst time of their lives. And peace officers, correction officers, telecommunicators all have to have that patience to deal with that person that's going through a crisis, de-escalate the situation, rather than the traditional historical would just go in and, just muscle through a problem. That just doesn't work.
Man, I got to tell you, this is not when we were asking about qualities. This is not what I thought was going to come out. I thought, because for me, just kind of just as a your regular person out in the community, I see law enforcement as somebody who has a presence.
Oh, that's
right?
absolutely
who has a strong
the case.
presence, who can kind of just handle a situation very calmly. But I never thought of compassion and
You know what?
empathy
And
right away.
Command presence is the first rung on the use of force continuum. And exactly what you said, whether you're a petite female or whether you are 6'4" and 250 pounds, when you walk into a room, especially something like a family disturbance or a bar fight or something that's chaotic, you've got to, just stepping in that room, you've got to command the room, period, before you even open your mouth. And so, and that has to do with facial expression, nonverbal communication, body language, even the way you walk into the room. And so you're right about that. That is a necessary element.
We'll be right back.
This is where it all starts, where dreams take off and what's next becomes clear. This is Heritage Campus at Del Mar College, home to core classes in arts, sciences, and business, with upgraded facilities and faculty who provide a quality education that transfers with you wherever you're headed. This is a place of creativity, possibility, and success. A place to excel, a place to grow. This is where you belong. Learn more at dmcdreams.com.
This show is a production of Del Mar College, where if you already hold an associate's degree, you can start this fall earning an online bachelor's degree in organizational management and leadership. Learn more at delmar.edu/BAS. This is Viking Radio.
And again, for our listeners out there, we've got Mr. John Hornsby with us from the Del Mar College Regional Police Academy and our Nueces County Sheriff, Mr. J.C. Hooper. How does one take care of themselves in this line of work?
I think it goes back to stuff you learn in the basic academy about physical fitness and about diet and about health. It's even a mandated topic in the regional or in the basic peace officer training about your physical and your mental health. And it's a topic we're talking more and more about is the mental health aspect of it. But it's all about just a good, healthy lifestyle. And that can be tough when you're working 12-hour shifts. And then
Absolutely.
So many of our police officers, too, get kind of trapped into off-duty work when they're not wearing the uniform for the city or the
Sure,
county.
they're doing extra.
They're doing extra jobs at the bus stop or elsewhere, and so a lot of guys and girls, they kind of fall into that, and it can be easy to let yourself go over the years. And many of our brothers and sisters have paid the price for it too.
Yeah.
And so it's something that we constantly talk about. We've developed peer support programs.
Okay.
Inside just about every agency now has some type of peer support program, and we just doing our best to keep our people aware.
That's good.
focused.
I'm really glad to hear that. And so switching over to support programs. So I know we're talking a lot about, being in law enforcement, but then in the programs, the facilities that you oversee, I think people would love to hear, there's a lot of good training happening for individuals who find themselves in unfortunate times. They end up in the Nueces County Jail. But there are opportunities for people to learn something while they're there.
Absolutely. We have, and this is going to sound funny, but we have a captive audience, right? And we have a very captive audience of about 1,000 souls, 500 at the main jail and 500 at the annex. And, the idle hands are the devil's workshop, so we do our best to give them opportunities for learning. And we do a lot of that on the tablets. We have
Really?
tablets, that are totally secure. They can't surf the internet. They can't play Grand Theft Auto because some of them are there for Grand Theft Auto, right?
Good point. Point well taken. We don't want them to sharpen those skills.
But the tablets have been a good tool as far as keeping them busy and giving them access to educational and religious material and all kinds of self-improvement programs. And we do have a lot of hands-on stuff going on too.
What do you feel like from Del Mar College's perspective? So the mission of every community college, right, is unique because we serve our own communities and we focus on what the need is. And so from your perspective, what is it that Del Mar could also be doing to help with some of our individuals out there who either aren't getting through school, aren't making it here? We always feel like we're here, we've got billboards everywhere, everybody knows about Del Mar College, but then sometimes it's really hard for people out there because of their circumstances to get here.
Well, I think, I went to the Education Foundation event where all of the scholarships came out, and I sat at a table of kids, and the majority of them were from Odom, Texas, and it was kind of funny to talk to them. Yeah, the majority of them came out and said that had it not been for the opportunities afforded them by that Education Foundation, they wouldn't have been able to attend college, and so Del Mar is a big part of that, and both my brothers went off to you're a Longhorn, UT, right?
Yes, sir.
Both my brothers
okay, I'm
went.
sorry.
Coming
To
out
put
of
it
high school.
lightly, yes.
Yeah, coming out of high school, both my brothers went there. I stayed here. And I went to Del Mar College. I was a lifeguard over there at y'all's indoor swimming pool.
Were you?
Yeah. And then I went from there to Corpus Christi State University. There's now A&M. Yeah, A&M, Corpus Christi. So, I took full advantage of the education possibilities here in Corpus Christi, and I think a lot of our youth do, and that's a good thing. And I think Del Mar's done a great job of making it affordable and making it accessible.
We try. We're always trying, but there's this percentage of students out there since COVID. They're graduating high school, and they're not entering the workforce, and they're not entering higher education. And so a lot of times with the other four-year regional universities here, it's like we are not in competition with each other. Our goal is to get people who are not coming to college to be able to find them and get them to come on campus so that we can wrap our services around them and get them enrolled and completed. So
John, when my dad worked out there, it was called the West Campus. What's it called now?
Yeah.
We're on the Windward campus.
Windward
yes.
campus.
It used to be West.
Yeah, talk about some of those tech programs and programs out there. That's amazing.
There's a lot going on.
Well, there are quite a few, and I know that you take advantage of quite a few of those with the jail industries kind of thing. The culinary arts program, I know you take advantage of that with some of your inmates, and
there's a lot of programs that fall into that. And I was thinking this the other day. For a few years, we were the adult education and learning program was also in the juvenile section, the juvenile detention section, for those individuals who want trying to get their GEDs. It's again, you're there, want to learn something, want to do something. I remember we used to have instructors there doing that work, which I felt was really important.
So on those tablets I was talking about, they can do all of the GED courses leading up, but they can't take the test on those tablets.
Right,
Once
right.
again, they have to reach out to someone like a Del Mar College
Mm-hmm.
to actually take that GED test. So we can do an awful lot, but there's a lot that we're dependent on.
Sure.
Del Mar College really has to help us, and we started out there at the annex with a great woodworking program through Del Mar College.
Yes.
And we have since evolved. We kind of took that program and altered it where more and more of our inmates at the annex could participate, but it all started with Del Mar College.
I remember that grant program. It was Rebuild Texas.
Yeah,
through
that
the
was
Dell
it.
Foundation.
Rebuilt.
Yes.
There were some
yes.
real go-getters in that group.
Yeah, and it was a phenomenal program, and we were able to keep it going after the grant ended for a little bit, and kind of go from there.
I'd like to ask John, how long has the Del Mar College Police Academy been there at the Windward campus?
I was going through some of the old TCOL numbers for our licensing exam, and we go back to 1970. So it's been there quite a while. I started teaching here in 95. We didn't have a dedicated building. We were actually out of the air conditioning building at the time.
Really?
And-
I know that old AC building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still there,
Still there.
isn't it? Still
It
there.
is. It is still there. It's right across the street from our academy now. And then I believe the public safety building was built in 05, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the public safety building is impressive, and it's like the central hub for the police academy, the fire academy,
Yes.
And EMS.
and EMS. Yeah, it's impressive out there.
So we graduate 2, sometimes 3 academies per year. You know, it's a demanding course. It has a higher attrition rate than some other courses that are offered, and it's very academically challenging. A lot of people think that, okay, we're going to be shooting guns and driving fast and rolling around fighting on mats and doing all. We do those things, but it's a very, very, very small portion of the overall academy of learning the law, learning code of criminal procedure, learning when it's acceptable to use force, when we should be de-escalating a situation. So,
Sure, I can see some people get into that, and they're halfway through, and they're like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. But you want the people who are absolutely committed, who can do this line of work to see it through.
It is, and it does have some skills requirement. You know, you do have to meet a certain firearms criteria, firearms marksmanship criteria. You have to meet a certain physical fitness criteria. You have to be able to drive a car to a level of proficiency. But in unconventional situations, right? Not just driving down the street and getting a driver license. But it is not unattainable. But I think I'll go back to what the sheriff had said earlier. If they're teachable and they're committed to this, to a police academy, I believe just about anybody can successfully do this job, but they have to have that level of commitment, or it's not going to work out.
And what about pepper spray or taser exposure? Tell them about that. He's laughing.
Please.
It's not funny if you're on the receiving end of that.
Okay, that's
So
true. I've never been
do
pepper
that.
sprayed.
You do that training?
So we do. That's part of the academy is 2 days of taser training, and they are exposed, meaning they are shot with a taser. And there's a day of pepper spray or OC spray training, and they are exposed to OC. They're sprayed right in the eyes. And the idea of that is not to be kind of, masochistic or anything. It's more of, especially with the pepper spray, to convince them that if they do get exposed on the street, which in South Texas and wind, if you break it out, you're getting it too. And that they
okay.
can still function through that. And with the taser exposure and the pepper spray exposure, both, it's kind of an exposure of, hey, if you're going to be applying this to someone, you know what it's like of what's called neuromuscular incapacitation, or NMI, to where you lose control of your muscles for a very temporary period of time, 5 seconds, but you just fall.
So I know there's people out there who are just like, that sounds so cool and amazing. I'm getting heart palpitations. Like, it's giving me anxiety. I could
Me
never
too.
do it. Right?
Mhm.
So yeah, we're not gonna enroll in the academy anytime. Thank God for y'all. We're not enrolling. But I know there's some people out there who are listening to this and like, this is me. This sounds like something that I want to do. So for somebody who's out there listening and they want to enroll at Del Mar, who do they get a hold of?
So they can contact me at the academy. They can go to Del Mar College's website and look under the public safety icon there on the website. And there's fire, EMS, and then Police Academy.
Okay.
They can contact me directly at jhornsby@delmar.edu. Our application period is a little different than the college application period because we have the regulatory standards that TCOL imparts on us, where they have to take a psychological evaluation and a drug screen and a physical.
Takes a little bit longer. Yeah. Okay. So if you're out there listening, you're interested, it's not going to follow the regular Del Mar College calendar in terms of starting classes again. But again, give John Hornsby a call. And your number at the office, it's 361-698
1859.
1859. And give him a call and see if you're interested. And now, Sheriff, back to you and the county. Are you hiring right now?
Yes, we are. We're constantly hiring. If you go to the website, go to the app, click on join our team. And because there is a turnover in the jail, we're fully staffed. We have 12 vacancies.
Okay.
And you know, out of after the COVID, we had 60 vacancies.
Oh my gosh.
Because not too many people wanted to work in a jail.
Sure.
During a period of infectious disease, but now we're hovering around 5 to 10 or 12 vacancies, and we'll hire 4 or 5 a week. And we'll lose 2 or 3 a week. You know, people. There's
so
a
this is
constant
just
turnover.
constant.
And the job is there for you.
So it's very similar to here at the college in that if you want to stay, you like the work, you like the consistency,
Right.
you can stay. But it's also a stepping stone.
Yes,
That if you
it
want to
can
move
be.
on to other things, there's those opportunities as well. So
What's the most rewarding part of it?
I think,
Oh, that's a great
going home at the end of a 12-hour shift and feeling like you did some good. You know, maybe you helped that one inmate that was in crisis, or maybe it was a physical altercation where you were able to back up your partner and avoid injury to the inmate and to your partner. And so there are feel-good moments, moments when there's a lot of challenging moments too, where you're dealing with people who aren't appreciative. Many of them are not appreciative. Many of them will assault you or verbally assault you. And so, I mean, you got to like John said earlier, these people in the county jail, they're not in a happy place. They're waiting for their day in court. And many of them have already been convicted, but at this moment in time, the only reason they're being housed is because they're waiting for their day in court and they can't make bail or bond. And so it's our responsibility to keep them safe and secure, keep them fed, make sure they get all their treatment, medical and mental health treatment, because about 300 of the 1,000 inmates that we're housing, they have mental health issues, and so that's a very challenging demographic to work with. And so, but it's well worth it, and the pay's getting better every year. Is that right?
Hey,
Yeah.
that's
The pay
that's
is
never a
finally-
bad thing.
No.
John, what about for you? What's rewarding for you in your work?
I'm actually on a real high right now with work because we just graduated a class.
Congratulations.
And so that's probably the most rewarding part between that and then seeing what the students turn into years down the line. I've had students that I run into from when I was a part-time instructor here. I'll run into them in another city or
That's
somewhere
awesome.
else, and they express that appreciation and they tell me those good stories.
I think we share that in common. I love watching people. That's part of the work that I love here at the college is not just our students, but our faculty and staff, watching everybody elevate, right, professionally and grow. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here today on Retro Radio.
Thank you for the invite. Look forward to the next one.
Looking forward to it. And thank you for keeping us safe and for training the people out there that keep us safe.
Thank you for having us.
Very much appreciated.
This show is a production of Del Mar College. Follow us on Spotify at Viking Radio.